Boorbell, I've noticed you have gathered some of your favorite things. How are you doing?
Why, hello, Boobell. I am sad. I know that many people are interested in strength sports, yet there are so few subscribers to the Boar channel.
Do you think that is because you are not boring enough?
You may be right, Boobell. Lately, I think I have been too interesting. I have included too many boar kitties.
Yes, Boorbell, that must be it. You have let down your loyal subscribers. Now, you know what to do. No, now is not the time we dance. You know what to do.
Yes, Boobell, you are correct. I will make a boring presentation.
Yes, Boorbell, only the most boringest.
Afternoon, evening, and welcome to my very boring presentation, Strength Sports and Overview. It's a little bit of definitions, a little bit of overview of what strength sports are, some classic definitions, and kind of what I think of strength sports are a very broad definition. My name is Douglas Marks. I have a YouTube channel, Boorbell Lifting. I have a Patreon, which no one is subscribed to right now, Boorbell Lifting, and Instagram, Boorbell Lifting, and a brand new Gmail, boorbell.lifting@gmail. A quick bio about myself. I was a swimmer, runner, and a lifter in high school and college. I was poor quality of all of them. I was non-technical and didn't know how to do the sports correctly, and as such I didn't achieve much at all, but I enjoyed it, so I kept going. In the early 2000s, I had a run of about 7 years as an age group swim coach, age group 11 through 12, and my coaching was a mixture of technique and training based, about half technique, 40% techniques, 50 or 60 training based practices. In the mid 2000s, I got very interested in learning about powerlifting, and I started about 3 years and became an intermediate powerlifting for my age and weight. And then during those 3 years, for 2 years of them, I was a moderator for one of the largest, if not the largest, powerlifting online community, Strong Lifts Inner Circle. While I was a monitor for the community, I read every post, I saw every video, and I curated content for the owner of the site. After that, I took a year, maybe a year and a half off of lifting. Life got busy, and currently I'm back into a 1 year lifting cycle of, for my age and weight, intermediate powerlifting, and I'm on about 10 months of elite level strict curl powerlifting training. Pause. Okay, so first I'd like to give a little bit of overview of what I'm thinking when I'm talking about strength sports. There's a couple official strength sports, the most popular ones, so I'd like to take a second to go over those. So first we have the Olympic weightlifting. This is the highest explosive power of any barbell or strength sport. The goal is high explosion of power, lifting a barbell over the head, and there is going to be a high barbell weight. That's what makes it elite, trying to get a high barbell weight with the most explosive power. Powerlifting is similar with different exercises. Powerlifting is going to be the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift are the 3 official powerlifting lifts. And you're going to see the highest barbell weight lifted out of any of the strength sports. As such, it's going to be slow. There's not explosive power. It's a slow movement with the highest barbell weight you can. Strongman's been around since the 70s. It's been formalized, and they use different weights in different scenarios. Some things are very formalized now, different events, and they keep rotating events. So there's different weights in different scenarios. And finally, I put bodybuilding into strength sports. They use weights. They use weights almost extensively and a lot. They're going to use medium weights because they're not going for the most or even a lot of weight lifted, because they're attempting to grow the muscles in size and sculpt their body for a judged competition that doesn't rely on weight lifted. There's other strength sports out there. CrossFit comes to mind. I didn't put it up there. But that's okay. If you want to know about CrossFit, just find someone who does CrossFit and mention CrossFit, and then they'll talk to you for 4 hours about CrossFit, and you'll get all you need to know about CrossFit. If you're having trouble finding someone who does CrossFit, don't worry. They'll find you and they'll tell you. That's just powerlifting CrossFit humor. Pause. Personally, I extend strength sports into anyone who lifts weights for any kind of purpose. It could be a personal purpose, it could be for other sports, but if you do it in a consistent way and you're taking pride in weights you're lifting, I think you're part of a strength sport, whether it's formalized or not. So next I want to get into some strength sports benefits. There's a lot of benefits that can be received that you can get from lifting weights and participating in a strength sport. First off, strength training is a lifetime sport. As powerlifting grows in popularity over the last probably 5 or 10 years, you're going to notice a lot of people in many different age brackets are lifting barbells, lifting weights for all of their life. They're into their 70s and 80s, and they're still lifting weights. I competed recently with an amazing lifter over 70 years of age. And in fact, at the meet, there were plenty of people over 50. It is literally a lifetime sport. Strength training is for all genders. Every gender can benefit and can enjoy strength training. Muscles have memory, and you bank the changes. Okay, so this will be covered later, but basically what it means is the gains you get in strength, not size, but in actual strength, changes your muscles. And although you may lose the strength temporarily when you stop, if you start back up again, the muscles have a memory, they have extra nuclei, and you gain your strength back much faster than it took to get it in the first place. So the benefits of doing a strength sport is that the benefits are almost always with you. Couple takeaways from this. Young athletes, when done young, strength sports can stock up on gains for the rest of their life, making any time they come back to the sport easier than the first time. And it also makes it an excellent multi-sport choice. One season of strength sports can bank the changes, bank the gains, and you can keep adding to that as you go through whichever athletic career you want. Strength sports have a very low injury rate, or let me say they have a consistent injury rate with other non-contact sports. And so there's nothing inherently more dangerous about the strength sports than other non-contact sports. And some high-level coaches use strength sports as injury prevention. I don't have the numbers on whether strength sports prevent injuries in other sports, but that is out there. I just think that being stronger is more fun in life. Going through your daily activity with extra strength is just easier. It's just more fun. It's just easier. You can lift things you could never lift before. Life is just different in a more fun way. I would be remiss if not to say that the minimal physical appearance changes. Strength sports in the first year don't create incredibly different physical changes. They are minimal physical changes, but it's enough to see with the naked eye, and many people feel that these changes to the body are pleasing in an aesthetic sort of way. Strength training can be trained concurrently with steady state cardio. Strength training requires rest, but steady state cardio doesn't tax the muscles in a way that would significantly stop the gains of strength training. So strength training and steady state cardio go very, very well hand in hand. Strength training and high intensity cardio, that's a different story. And I would claim that the results of strength training, the increase of strength, directly benefits almost all other sports. It's few and far between to have a sport where the athlete can't benefit from being a little bit stronger. Pause. So now I'm going to go into a couple claims. These are claims, and as such, they have to be supported with evidence, with personal anecdotes, with convincing logic. Okay, they are claims. They're from what I've seen. They're from what I've experienced. They are from what I've read. And the claim is that strength enhances other sports. I'm not going to present everything with some of these claims. I'll just, hopefully for some entertainment value, I'll present some examples. They're not meant to be a full argument in this presentation. So one claim is that all else being equal, stronger athletes have an advantage. And I have prepared this excellent visual. Is that claim, all else being equal, a stronger athlete has an advantage? Well, I ask you, if you have two athletes equal in absolutely everything, which one would you choose? Equal in everything except strength. Everything else is equal. Would you choose the one with that's 5% stronger? I think it's intuitive. You just would. And so we have another claim that you can get up to 20% stronger and possibly a 50% increase in strength without significant negative changes. Because you say, well, if they get stronger, isn't there going to be something negative that makes them worse? And strength is funny like that. You can get stronger with hardly changing anything else that matters on your body. You can get up to a 20 to a 50% stronger. So the question becomes, why not? If people prefer stronger athletes, all else being equal, why not work to get a little stronger? We have a claim that top-end strength improves power output. Let's go back to the cartoons again. So for this example, let's think that stick figure A has a pull, doesn't matter what a pull is, of 100 pounds max, and stick figure B has a pull, doesn't matter what a pull is, of 80 pounds max. Well, if I was to go and say, hey, stick figure A, why don't you do 18 reps at 60 pounds each pull? Okay, that's 60%. Stick figure A could do 60% is 60 pounds, 18 reps. And they could do it in a certain amount of time. Well, what about stick figure B? If I was to say, all right, stick figure B, stick figure A just did 18 reps of 60 pounds in a certain amount of time. Let's see if you can develop more power. Well, stick figure B, if they wanted to do 60 pounds, that's 75% of their maximum strength. Well, they probably couldn't even do 18 reps. They definitely couldn't do 18 reps at the same time. They could do it with taking a lot of rest, but because they're going to take longer, they are going to then have less power. So the lower weight for 18 reps, maybe they could do less than 60 pounds, but they're going to do it in about the same time. They've got less power. So just by increasing your max, just by increasing your strength, you're going to get extra power. There's more to it than that. But if you can, say, increase your max by 20 or 30% strength, you are going to get higher power. Simple as that. I've got two other stories for the top-end strength improving power output. One of the lifters that started StrongLifts.com, Mehdi Hadim, he went and he traveled to a different country, and he was getting his kettlebell certification. And part of the kettlebell certification is to prove that you have aerobic kettlebelling. So you have to do something like 50 or 100 swings with a kettlebell. And so that's supposed to prove that the person ready to have their kettlebell certification has some sort of aerobic base with kettlebells. Well, Mehdi happened to have an incredibly high maximum strength. And so he went in without any practice. Other people had been practicing for a month to be able to pass this test. He was able to lift the kettlebell the unbelievably amount of time, a certain kettlebell weight, and he was able to do it within the amount of time with no training, strictly because he had such a high max strength. He was able to just lift it so many times, and his power output was through the roof by just having a maximum strength. So I've got another example. Is just real world. It's me doing push-ups. Let me call it up. Okay, this is actually a Borbell video from my YouTube. It's just a funny video of my character. But if you look at what's important from it, I don't do push-ups. I just don't do push-ups, but my maximal strength on bench press is pretty high for me right now. So the things we're going to notice is, number one, the power output of this low weight push-up. I'm able to do them very fast, which is a high power output. And we can also look and say that without any training, without any push-up training, without any aerobic training, I can do I can do a certain amount of push-ups before I fail. So just having maximal strength without any kind of interval or without any kind of training, I can do sub-maximal faster and for longer. And I get it just by increasing max strength and not by practicing power output or by practicing repetitions. Here we go.
Boorbell, what are you doing?
Oh, hello, Boobell. I am preparing to push the floor.
You mean push-ups?
No, floor presses.
How many times? Boorbell, I don't think this is a good idea. When was the last time you pressed the floor?
2, 5, 6 months ago?
Boorbell, this isn't safe. You know you need to do a long program of hundreds of push-ups
Floor presses.
to slowly work up to them. It's the law of body weight exercises.
But you see, Boobell, I have been pressing my bore bell in the basement, and my bore max from my bore press is much, much more than a floor press. And so then I should be able to do multiple floor presses because they are so much less than my bore max.
Boorbell, your bore logic has convinced me. But make sure that this is both boring and uninteresting. And can you please make sure it is safe?
Yes, Boobell. Safety first. Ow. Ow. Yeah, so there you have it. And imagine if I was even stronger, right? Because my bench press is not super high right now. So imagine if I was even stronger, that'd be even easier and faster. So one thing that strength training does do also is it improves the core as a byproduct. With doing deadlifts, bench press, and squats, you don't even have to work on your core, and your core is going to get significantly stronger. If I may, allow me to bore you with another video I made. All right, so here, I literally don't remember the last time I did a plank hold, and so I've done no core work except for just basic strength training, and I'll speed this up in post. So we'll speed this up in post, but here we go. First attempt after, I don't know, a year, maybe 2 since I've ever planked. So back to normal speed. So that was 2 minutes, 24 seconds. And for never having done a plank within years, and for not training core at all. And I know it wasn't the best plank, but cut me some slack. I haven't been training it. Am I sore today? That was yesterday. Barely sore in the core. And also, by the way, no soreness on the triceps or the chest from doing a 37 maximal push up there. Pause. So I alluded to it earlier. The claim. This shouldn't even be a claim. This isn't a claim. This is a fact. Just look it up online. The science community is in on it now. Strength is close to permanent, or it's as close to permanent as is practical. So what happens is you gain strength. Your muscles adapt. Your muscles adapt with like nucleus inside of it, and those gains stay. And so you lose the strength eventually when you stop lifting, when you stop working out. You lose the strength eventually after a while, but certain gains stay. And then when you start training again, you get the strength right back up. Let me try some editing. Let's see. Let's try some drawing. All right, draw and zoom. Okay, so there we go. Nothing like doing it the first time. Nothing like first time I ever tried this. Body weight. Okay, I really need a pen, like a tablet or something. In time versus my second time. Okay, so this was like, boom. Let's hope we can see that. Okay. So there's a line of body weight, whether it's bench press, deadlift, or squat. Okay, and I remember the first time 5 years ago, and I had to work up to do a squat or a bench press of my body weight. Let's just say the bench press of the body weight, somewhere around 160. And I was weaker on the bench press. And literally, that took me some time. And I struggled. And it's a simple workout. Strength training is simple, but it was tough. And I made the adaptions and I made the gains. And so then I went, well, let's get out there. Far beyond body weight. Okay, great. But then, took a year off, year and a half off. So obviously, I lost some of that strength. And then I started again. And I will tell you, I was up to doing a body weight bench press literally in half or less of the time. And it was easy. So I regained the strength that I had before in so much less time because muscles have what they call the memory. So you bank long-term gains, or at least you bank the ability to get that strength peaked to where you used to be in much less time than it took you to get there first. All right, and the final claim, once again, this isn't a claim. It's on the wrong thing. Once again, in the real world, okay, whatever. In the real world, it's already using strength to enhance their athletes. Let's take running, which is very, very similar to swimming in time and training and such like that. Runners use strength training to enhance their performance, and they use them to avoid injury. Whether it does help them avoid injury or not, I haven't seen the data. But I definitely know coaches who use it, and top-level D1 coaches who use it. So try to find a 20-meter dash athlete, a top 20-meter dash athlete, which is about 20 seconds that race. Try to find any of them that don't strength train. Every single one of them will strength train to complete and to win their 20-second race. 400-meter dash runners train strength for a duration of 40 seconds, a race of duration of 40 seconds. And I know, I don't have the names right now. I did the research half a year ago, maybe 5 months ago. At least 2, possibly 3 of the top D1 coaches in the country for milers, for training distance. 3-minute 43 is the world record, so somewhere up to 4-minute duration. They are training in the weight room their milers, and they say it's for injury prevention, and they say it's for the last part of the race. So strength training is already being used in sports. Pause. So real quickly, here's some positives. Significant gains in strength can be made with minimal time investment. You can increase your max in strength with as little as 4 to 5 hours of work per week. It's not a big investment. And you can do it with very few repetitions. And this is going to greatly reduce the injury. Literally, you can increase your max strength with 70 pushes, 70 pulls, 70, 75, anything. And as you get higher in strength, that's just the beginning. But as you're pushing the weight, you're not going to do more than 50 squats. You're not going to do more than 50 bench presses. And you can still increase to an incredibly high maximal strength. Strength training starts with a very simple program. Go back to reducing injury. It's almost impossible, literally almost impossible to get injured doing 75 squats a week, and it's all submaximal. It's all at 75% of your max. So it's almost impossible for overuse injuries, for tweaking. It's almost impossible to do 75 bench presses at 75% of your max and get injured. It just doesn't happen unless there's a fluke. It's very there. Basic strength training, which can increase your strength by 50%, sometimes up to 100%, is a very, very simple program. And you can do a 50%, anywhere from 30 to 50% increase in your max strength relatively quickly, just a few months. So it's really just like a season. It's really just like a one cycle. And once again, the strength gains you get are quickly unlockable for years after the season. That's the muscle memory effect. And we're going to put this on the myths, busting out the myths, but you can get anywhere from 30 to 50% increase in strength without gaining significant size or weight. You have to work hard and you have to work differently to gain mass and weight. Strength goes up with hardly any increase in size if you do it correctly on a simple program. When you truly are a power type lifting strength athlete or a power weightlifter, not a bodybuilder, you don't have to change your size. And basic strength training is easily learnable. The techniques really are. You do need a coach and you do need someone who knows how to teach it, but it is easy. It's not very technical. And when they say it's technical, that's just tweaking things for competition. The basic techniques are very, very learnable. But there are some challenges. Okay, you do need a technique coach initially, right? You have to know how to get the movements across, to teach them in a way that people can understand. They're simple if you know the right ways to teach them. You also have to choose the correct, best bang for your buck, simple program. You just go into a weight room, you're not guaranteed to increase your strength. And you probably, if you just go into a weight room, you are guaranteed to injure yourself. Simple programs that work. So you got to know that one. If those simple programs that work, the athlete has to have the right mindset. It is a slow, steady, repetitive process. That's where beginning strength training can give you safe, effective, consistent increase in strength. Slow, steady, and repetitive. Some might say boring. Barbell lifting. A lot of times athletes, they're very competitive. They have a desire to chase a number. They're goal-oriented. And so, especially when you have numbers on a bar, an athlete might chase the number, and it is very easy to break program. It's very easy to cheat with form, and you're going to hit the number, but it's not going to give you what you want, which is the real strength. So it's tough to get an athlete to not buy into the process. All of them buy into the process. It's tough to tamp down on that desire to hit the numbers. Consistency and record keeping, because to increase strength you need progressive overload, and you need to know you need to keep your workouts similar. You need to know that they're getting better in some variable workout to workout, so you do need to keep good records and have consistency. And finally, a challenge to strength training is you do need adequate recovery time. In the beginning, when you're just learning the form, okay, you don't need that much recovery, but when you are pushing those strengths for the first time, when you are trying to eke out an extra 1% per week, which is kind of where people can be, a 1% per week for a while, once you get up to your limit, you do need adequate recovery time. So that's sometimes hard to find. Sometimes it's hard to find. But that's where steady state cardio is good in between the workouts, because it actually helps you recover a little bit. But it's tough to do true strength training program while you're in an intense sport, intensely training for running, or let's say intensely training for swimming. So you really do need some sort of dedicated time by itself. And finally, in a new presentation, I'm thinking here are some of the major myths. I wanted to include them here because maybe some people are thinking of them right now and saying, well, I can't do strength training because of this. Well, here's some of the major myths we're going to bust. We'll cover them in depth later at a different presentation. Okay, strength training makes you bulky, slow, big, and inflexible. No, 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 and let's finish with no. You do it right, you don't get any of those. Strength training causes a lot of injuries, not more than any other non-contact sport. Strength training is not recommended and bad for younger athletes. You can believe whatever you want, but there's definitely enough science out there and definitely enough peer-reviewed papers that if you want to believe it's good for younger athletes, there's stuff to back you up on that. Prepubescent athletes cannot benefit from strength training because they don't have the hormones to build the muscles. They can still benefit from strength training because not all of it is making muscular adaptations inside the muscles. We'll get to the myth. There's other processes that go on that can make them stronger that don't happen to rely on hormones. Body weight exercises can be substituted for strength training. I would say that's a partial untruth or partial truth. You can get stronger with body weight exercises, but you're going to open yourself up to injury, and you have to do a lot of them in very special ways. You're going to have to spend 5-10 times the amount of time per week, and you're probably going to get injured. Strength training does it more efficiently without the injury. So body weight exercises are significantly, let's say, they're significantly limited in making maximal strength. And I would say they have a lot more negatives. Once strength training is over, you'll lose the gains. We went over that before. Your muscles have memory. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining me in this hopefully boring enough to fit the theme of my YouTube channel. If you have any questions on this, maybe send boorbell.lifting@gmail.com send a email. People still do that. Why don't we change this? Let's add one. TikTok. Boorbell lifting. I got some time. Let's figure out how to do that. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.